Hey, what is up everybody, Blaze for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be going ahead and going over the new characters PV trailer, which goes over skills and more. So if you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get straight into it. Not going to waste any time on this one. So you guys should see on the screen being Twitter here, and we're taking a good look at the P5X news and info account here, in which they posted all the English subs for the new character being Matoi. And this character looks pretty darn awesome. We got a glimpse of what she is, or at least how she is as a character, a little bit of her backstory, and now we're actually going to get to see her kind of talking a little bit, in which I'm going to kind of skip through some of the talking. Maybe actually, you know what, I'm going to watch the whole thing, to be honest. So some of the talking you're going to see here, but we're mainly going to be paying attention to what she can really do, whether it's awarenesses and things like that, and which luckily they have translated down below. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get screen on zoomed in here and make sure everything is sized correctly. All right, and let's go ahead and get to watching. So enjoy. Oh, okay, so she's part of the Zoshigara Fire Department. Okay, interesting. Did we know someone of her name before? Was she around that age, huh? Huh. Really? If I was lying, it'd be real hassle. Oh, okay. So why is she giving me Fire Force vibes, bro? Homeworld can literally sniff out the smell of the fire on a person. Like, hold on, they may be dangerous. I've been an arsonist, yeah. So I'm gonna be interested in her story a decent bit. But there we go, we get a look of her outfits and the persona looking kind of nice. Hold on. Okay, a full whole overview. I really do like that shade of blue that they chose. Plus the effects on the weapon looks pretty darn cool. Okay, I think I saw 2 AoE moves. This one bringing frost and also a defense down. Single target. What do you do here? Okay, that looked like Ice Seal. I don't think that's going to be really too useful because our current Ice Seal is kind of bad anyways. And then the skill 3, which I feel like, yeah, based on how things are going to go, it's going to be skill 1, skill 3. I think someone did say that the skill 3 was the activator for a technical. I like that. I like that highlight. That's actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. Okay, and we have the awarenesses and such like that. This we'll be able to check out after the video. So I like how the mask is water itself, which is awesome. I like little waves. Okay, and then we have the AoA. Okay, I like that AoA. AoA was sick. AoA was actually kind of sick here. And I believe that is all they decided to show. All right. So that's everything that they decided to show here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the awarenesses and stuff like that to see exactly what's going on. So all right, see what we got into. Go ahead and check out the A0. It's called fire containment. Now of course this makes sense because she is a firefighter at the end of the day, but apparently here is at A0 we get this: your skills can now deal ice technicals, just like how we had of course Ren, where she did her technicals with people. And actually let me fix this screen here because I do see it's kind of messed up here. Boom. Just like how we had Ren, where she actually had her fire technicals and stuff like that, we can deal ice technicals with this character. At the start of a turn, gain 1 stack of extinguishing power up to 4 stacks. Consuming one of these said stacks of extinguishing power when using bursting waterfall will inflict all enemies with 1 stack of drowning. For every 1 stack of extinguishing power being consumed, drowning then increases the damage taken for a certain amount of turns up to 4 stacks. That's pretty interesting to see here that we immediately get that. Nothing too crazy here, but we can actually see what the technicals are. So much like how we had at least what is it called, we had Ren with her few technicals, we actually will get to see what this technical really does go in. So certain ice skills can trigger additional effects to enemies. When ice skills deal a technical to enemies with shock, it will trigger frigid bolt, increasing skill damage by a certain percentage. When ice skills deal damage or technical damage to enemies with burn, this will trigger ice burn, aka if she is going to be on Ren's team later on, this is going to be the main thing that's going to be happening here, because now there's a base chance to increase the target's fire/ice damage taken by a certain amount for a certain amount of turn. Then when ice skills deal technical damage to enemies inflicted with freeze, they will end up triggering Ice Seal, in which there is a specific chance to inflict the target with Ice Seal and they cannot act for a certain amount of turns. Now unfortunately this skill isn't all too helpful here, or at least that technical isn't too helpful here, because a lot of bosses and a lot of mobs really do ignore the Ice Seal here due to their gimmicks. So hopefully they do rework a couple of the mobs to make Ice Seal actually better, or either change how Ice Seal kind of works here, because that's going to be kind of useless. She probably will still be able to be used on at least frost teams or freeze teams, but not so sure right now, so we'll have to see on that. But going ahead and taking a look at the first skill here, we have the skill 1 being Echoing Tide. This is an AoE skill which is 22 SP. It gains 1 stack of extinguishing power and deals a certain amount of attack ice damage to all enemies, with a base chance to freeze and decrease their defense for a certain amount of turns. If the target is inflicted with burn, it will dispel their burn and inflict all enemies with Fading Flame. So Fading Flame itself is seen as a burn, so I guess I'm just gonna say it's a freezer burn technically. And when allies attack enemies with Fading Flame, it will actually heavily increase the technical damage mastery. Now this is furtherly making me think, of course, right, if they're inflicted with burn, that's just right there Ren. Like you can even see it in the picture down there, there's Ren. It just makes sense that she's going to be on Ren's team, of course, double technical characters, and she is a debuffer at the end of the day, so it could very well work out to have at least her inside the team. So we'll be able to actually take full advantage over that. But with technical mastery here, it affects the strength of the technical additional effects. So with technical mastery, it increases skill damage bonus from Backdraft and Frigid Bolt. It increases fire/ice damage boost from Ice Burn, increases damage from Hurricane Flame, and increases the base chance of an Ice Seal, as long as we get the technical mastery up, which will happen as long as you are using Ren. So absolutely amazing. Went ahead and looking at the skill 2 here, this is called Binding Wave. Now I feel like this one might not be used too much because it's mainly going off of the Ice Seal effect here, but it deals a certain percentage of attack, increases ice damage to one enemy, and heavily increases the base chance when dealing ice technicals, and triggers an Ice Seal. Once again, I don't think Ice Seal is going to be too helpful because it mainly inflicts it so enemies cannot move for a certain amount of turns. I feel like this is going to be kind of useless because a lot of enemies without a doubt still kind of get past this due to their gimmicks. So this skill 2, I don't think a lot of us are going to be using currently unless they change some things around. All right, so now taking a look at the skill 3 here. The skill 3 is called Bursting Waterfall, which is an AoE, which is a 26 SP AoE as well. It unlocks when you have 2 stacks of Extinguishing Flame. Now I expected this to be kind of like the enhanced, kind of how we have what's it called, Rin, where she first has to use a move, and the next turn you'll be able to use her melee. This is somewhat similar, where you need to have a couple Extinguishing Power stacks. Once you have 2, it will consume those 2, aka allowing you to do the skill 3, and this does a certain percentage of attack ice damage to all to all enemies, and decreases their defense by a certain amount of turns. And when dealing this, of course, you can trigger Ice Burn, which upgrades to Cold Shine and increases all damage taken. Now this is very specific. It increases or triggers Ice Burn, so it's very, very specific that you're going to be using this character with some fire characters as well, so keep that in mind. This is a very specific character, so surely do look at that. Now when we have 4 stacks of Extinguishing Power, this upgrades the skill to Bursting Waterfall Tornado, which Bursting Waterfall Tornado consumes 4 stacks of Extinguishing Power, deals a certain percentage of attack ice damage to all enemies, and heavily decreases their defense for a certain amount of turns here by a certain percentage. When dealing ice technicals and triggering Ice Burn, it will upgrade to Cold Shine once again. So of course, the more stacks that you have, the better the move is going to be, of course. And if you are using Ice Burn, aka the Fire and Ice technical, you will get a heavily enhanced version doing increased all damage taken. So Ice Burn, of course, whenever we do this whole little technical thing, that's when they're burned, so surely do understand that. Then we have the Highlight. Now the Highlight deals a certain percentage of attack ice damage to all enemies, increasing their damage taken by a certain percentage for a couple turns, heavily increasing the base chance when dealing ice technicals, and triggering Ice Seal. Increases the damage here, okay? Increases the damage for enemies inflicted with Ice Seal. Now, I feel like this is just not going to be useful here. This second part, going with the Ice Seal trigger, because it's not going to really be triggered too often. It's not going to be too useful here, but increases the damage taken for enemies inflicted with Ice Seal by a certain percentage, then deals a certain percentage of attack ice damage to all enemies. Ice Seal, once again, is when you have a freeze triggering with a technical freeze, so surely do know that, and that is where you can have that Ice Seal effect. Then we have the signature weapon, which is absolutely stunning, by the way. It's called Freezing Fork. It increases EHR. Oh, this is going to be a character built off of attack and EHR again. Okay, makes sense though. It is a debuffer. So we do have in battle increased attack based on EHR, so a lot of EHR is going to make this character better. Each time when dealing ice technical, they'll additionally decrease the target's defense by a certain percentage or certain turns. Then we have our passives being passive 1 pressure and passive 2 shelter. With passive 1, whenever it is present here, enemies with freeze will take more damage. And then for passive 2 being the shelter one, each time you deal technicals, this will give allies 1 stack of shield for a certain percentage of turns. This is actually stupid good, because I'm not gonna lie, Rin's team is very much so squishy. So seeing that she now will have a passive 2 sitting there is absolutely amazing. Seeing we are gonna be triggering that technical quite often. So very nice. Then we have the awarenesses here. Awareness 1, which is firefighting unit, additionally gain 1 stack of Extinguishing Power when you're using Echoing Tide. Heavily increases all attacks or all enemies crit damage taken when consuming Extinguishing Power for 1 whole turn. So it's much like where Rin, you get an extra at least an extra stack immediately, so you can immediately use this later on. So that's pretty nice to see. Awareness 2, Border Guardian. When consuming Extinguishing Power, increases all allies attack, defense, and damage dealt for a certain amount of turns. That could be very powerful. I can easily see that being for 2 whole turns. Then we have, of course, the Awareness 3, which is just upgrading. Then Awareness 4 is Calm the Flame. Highlight effect boost here. You will increase the damage taken effect by a certain percentage of turns or a certain amount of turns here, heavily increasing the base chance to trigger Ice Seal. That's good and all, but once again, Ice Seal isn't the best in shape right now, so we have to see how that goes. Then we have the Awareness 5, being 7 Principles, another skill level up there. And then Awareness 6, which is the big one as always, a Flower of Edo. At the start of your turn, if an enemy is afflicted with burn, immediately use Echoing Tide on the main target. Fading Flame cannot trigger this effect. When using Bursting Waterfall or Bursting Waterfall Tornado to attack the same target, it will heavily increase the target's damage taken by a certain percentage for a certain amount of turns. increasing the cap of drowning. So that's where she gets her level, or at least her drowning cap even more so. And then to wrap things up, this beautiful AOA art, which I love seeing here. But all in all, I'm very excited to see this character. I can't freaking wait to see what they have in store for us. And you guys let me know down below what you think about this. Are you excited? Are you not excited? And who's going to be pulling, who's not? Well, till next time, everybody, peace out.